Music gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, and flight to the imagination. And since 1969, the Jazz Institute of Chicago has been the prominent force in promoting and nurturing jazz throughout our city. The Jazz Institute of Chicago produces or sponsors dozens of free concerts and happenings throughout the year, gathering our communities into our neighborhood parks, top-notch jazz venues, schools, and institutions, all to celebrate and enjoy some of the best jazz music in the country.
They keep jazz alive. You know, we want to make sure that the young people get involved in jazz. And, you know, jazz is an American institution, you know, music-wise, it's an American invention. And so I just want to make sure it keeps going forward for the younger generation and it doesn't die out. And that's why I like the Jazz Institute, because, you know, they keep jazz alive.
So Jazz City is a brilliant, brilliant program that brings professional musicians, either local, national, international even, into neighborhood parks to perform. This program it's marvelous. The patrons have come to just follow around from park to park to see what's going to come up next through Jazz City. And I think at its core, it's most successful because it's free. It is like a perfect, accessible activity in a neighborhood park where people can come and see world-class musicians, where you might not be able to do that normally. Or sometimes there's barriers to access, you know, if there's a ticket fee or transportation getting to certain venues. But these are housed in the parks for free, and it creates just such a lovely, lovely program.
There's so many reasons why they're important. One is the sense of community. So anytime that I go to one of the neighborhoods and enjoy one of these concerts, I feel like I'm home. I feel like I'm in my home neighborhood, and that is just amazing. Latin Jazz Fest is one of my favorite moments, or just events altogether. Standing amongst the crowds and watching everybody dancing and just having such a good time, and just being in the moment, it's amazing, it's beautiful. Think of artists like Von Freeman or Ken Chaney or Willie Pickens, who I got to see before they passed, and I'm grateful to have met some of those artists and witnessed them perform and to record them and hear them. So, and when I think about the opportunity that Jazz Institute gives in the sense of providing instruments and mentorship and performance opportunities to young musicians and giving them confidence to go out and do what they want to do as artists, that is priceless, because that rises them up out of, you know, situations that sometimes maybe are hard to pull yourself out of. And so the fact that Jazz Institute provides that opportunity through schools and through community events is pretty amazing, because that has a huge impact.
So I just like the idea that they have activities all through the city, and that makes you go to these different areas of the city and you discover what a great city Chicago actually is.
Mm-hmm. The Jazz Institute of Chicago facilitates special grants that allow an artist to access resources, giving them the space and the tools to hone their craft, strengthen their careers, and pursue exciting jazz projects for us all to experience.
I think my first program that I was a part of was the Women's Jazz Leadership Initiative. It was super special because you don't get a bunch of jazz women in a room all the time. So it was a really special space and pretty life-changing experience. I mean, as a 15-year-old, I was, you know, taking the train into the city and partaking in these like really important conversations and meetings and meeting so many artists of, you know, not just my age, but older, that were mentoring me and kind of guiding the way for me to make my own path, which was super cool. I think the Jazz Institute is really important to the jazz scene in Chicago, just because it kind of defines the jazz community in Chicago, to be honest, because you hear these stories about, you know, cats going to New York and it being super cutthroat. And I think here in Chicago, we have a really special sort of vibe to our community because it's all about uplifting younger artists and lifting each other up and supporting each other. And I think the Jazz Institute does a perfect job of that because they unite musicians, they connect older mentors to younger students, they do all of this work to create a community in Chicago that really uplifts itself and each other, and makes room for new voices, which is super important in this art form, that we're always evolving and always exploring, everything that it can be.
I think that was the biggest thing for me. It's like, okay, I'm moving to a new city and like nobody really knows who I am. And this like incredible organization is like putting all their faith, not all their faith, but like, I'm saying they believe in me, right? It was all about, okay, like you're going to play these 2 performances and like you have to put them together and you got to rehearse the band and, you got to put yourself out there and like, we're going to support you and we're going to do all these promotions about you. And so it really kind of like kicked me in the butt to like put myself out there. And that was exactly what I needed. Having the stamp of approval from the Jazz Institute has a lot of weight, and it got me through a lot of doors that I don't think I would have been able to get through if I didn't have that when I had first moved to the city. So all in all, it was amazing. I mean, it couldn't be more grateful.
So one specific thing I think the Jazz Institute really did, I can really point to anybody, is when I say they provided resources, the specific thing they did for me was put me in touch with people who knew about the business of music. And so helping me get my finances and help me getting how to be a band leader, and how to make a living as an artist outside of just playing music. That I would say they were the first people that really looked past just the artist and what they did musically, but how can they help sustain the artist. So they put me in touch with different people who I can reach out to make sure I'm doing everything on the business side of music just as well as I am on the artistic side.
For youth, engagement in the arts encourages a lifelong application of creative thinking, empathy, and the power of understanding the human spirit. The Jazz Institute of Chicago educational programs provide an ever-growing community of teachers and students through collaboration, learning, professional development, and direct connections to Chicago's rich jazz legacy.
Yeah, I think one of the most memorable ones for me was playing at Navy Pier. A lot of the times what they do is they'll like have the younger students that are in high school kind of take on a big project by leading their own group. Because in high school, that's a pretty big thing. It's hard for a high schooler to lead their own music group. So it's like a big project that we work on all year, and they kind of teach you how to become a leader, how to be a business musician, and it's great. And then they give you this amazing gig at either Navy Pier or Logan Center for the Arts or something crazy like that you would never imagine, as a high schooler. And you get to play there and you plan this whole set, and it's like a whole progression, and that really helped me, when I grew a couple of years later and started doing gigs with my own group, I had all that base foundation of what to do. So yeah, they gave me a gig when I was in high school at like Navy Pier with my own group, and which is like amazing for a high schooler to be able to experience and play with this beautiful venue and all these people in front of you. It was obviously I was nervous. I was so nervous there, but like I think about it now, and just like those moments are kind of what shaped the person I am today.
Just jazz is like doing something that's orchestrated, but changing it up a little each time. So it'll never be the same each time. For jazz, it's like, in most pop music you have like lyrics, like lots of lyrics. Whereas in jazz, you don't need lyrics for it to sound good. Like it'll sound good regardless. And Like, even if you screw up, nobody will know.
Someone once told me music's the universal language, and it's like everyone understands it, everyone can find joy in it, no matter if it's from Europe, Africa, America, Canada, whatever. You know, everyone can enjoy the playing music, and especially what some call jazz music, you can really enhance that conversation and enhance being able to create something with those around you. Jazz Institute's really helped me start to find my voice in the music I want to play.
Hard, but then once I joined the Jazz Institute, they opened all these doors for me to meet so many people that have become very close mentors of mine, and people that I, hold really close to my heart, because they've done so much for me and taught me so much music and exposed me to so many things. So when I was new, I'd never felt new because they just integrated me so quickly, which is, I think, the best part of the program is you instantly feel like you're a part of this family. So do it as soon as you can, and then also it's a great way to just meet other kids that are in love with this music as much as you are, hopefully, and that's I've met all my best friends through the Jazz Institute. All my best friends I've met through the Jazz Institute, people that I've been friends with for so many years, and I know I will continue to be friends with and play with for the rest of my life.
For me, the practice of jazz music and the spirit of jazz has been really compelling, and it feels more like a calling than a choice. And I think that the people that feel that connection to jazz music, the biggest gift we can give them is access into that community, and to see how they can fit into this really beautiful ecosystem of jazz. And that's something that the Jazz Institute has really done for me as both a teacher and as a musician, and as a community member. And I think it really does, it really speaks to something inside that is very different than other kinds of music. It is jazz music allows for such independence and personal voice, but also deep collaboration and community. And it really just, it sits in that really beautiful place that like nothing else I've ever found.
The Jazz Institute of Chicago's work cannot be done without your support. Whether you're a full-fledged jazz connoisseur, a casual observer, or simply understand the profound positive impact the arts and jazz can have on people and communities, we thank you for being here tonight, and we ask that you open your hearts and your wallets and support the Jazz Institute of Chicago and its mission to keep jazz, its history, and future flourishing in our great city and beyond.